Good morning, welcome to the stream. It's time to go over some charts. It is Friday, the last day, well, one more day, I guess Monday will be the last day of the month, but pretty much the end of the month, so mostly be looking at setups for next month, but we're just going to see how everything's closing. So starting with Aussie CAD here, just in order. So big bearish day going into this zone we talked about yesterday. The pair is bearish, way below this moving average, so obviously looking at more shorting positions for next month. We'll see if price breaks this zone today, and then if it does, I mean, that's definitely a good sign that it's going to keep heading lower and break below price here. If we're looking at a higher time frame here, maybe check out the weekly, see if there's some good wicks. So kind of right here will probably be the monthly target for next month. So yeah, we'll see how this closes today, and then Monday, last day of the month, start looking for big short positions and targeting this big area down here. Moving on, Aussie Swiss. So these Aussie pairs headed down, obviously. So one of my favorite pairs, Aussie Swiss. I like all the Swiss pairs. They just move very consistently. So yeah, broke this main area like we talked about yesterday, retested a bunch of times, and then now is the sign to head back down. So that's perfect price action when price comes back, retest the zone to make sure, yep, this is a fair price, perfect, we're going to head lower. And that's exactly what it's doing. So it's now, then will most likely continue to head lower. So for next month, I mean, it kind of is in its own all-time low right here on the month, actually. So we can't really figure out where it's going to, exactly where it's going to most likely head to next month, but we can see its normal range. So the range for Aussie Swiss right now is about 300 pips a month. So it is likely that it will move roughly 300 pips next month downwards. So, but we'll go over that, monthly end. But for right now, yeah, no trades or anything. It's nice to see this just breaking its zone here, printing a nice bearish candle, and this is a textbook move. Like, this was basically the entire month. Yeah, July 4th this started, and technically the 3rd was the Monday. So basically the entire month it just moved steadily down. Not a crazy huge move. It hasn't moved its full monthly range or anything, but so it's been a slower month, but it's been consistent, and so I'd much rather just have consistent. I'd rather consistently win than, have crazy losses. So that is Aussie Swiss. Aussie yen, wow. So it actually dipped really, really low. It's still bullish. It's above this moving average, but today it's dipped really, really low. I guess overnight it would have been. And it hit its monthly low. So this is a 500 pip range, which is its normal monthly range, and it actually hit it. Like, as of yesterday, it was, still 150 pips out pretty much, but then last night it apparently came down, hit the 92 level, and is now rejecting. So this is cool. I'm going to see how, I'm curious how Monday closes, because if Monday closes if this candle closes like this today, and then Monday closes a bullish engulfing candle, then that might mean that this is on its way back up, because this is a clear sign that it tried to test lower levels and is struggling. I mean, there's still 8 hours left on this candle, so we don't know how it's going to close, but you can see as soon as price hit this 92 zone, some bulls came in. So we'll see if they overcome the rest of today, and then if they do, they might be headed back up. But obviously we'll just wait till Monday, and then maybe early on in the week wait for a little bit more confirmation. But this might be switching now just because of this huge dip and then rejection. So we're gonna watch that. That's Aussie yen. Aussie Kiwi. So yeah, last 3 days just moving down, slow and steady. Is now sitting below the moving average. This goes back and forth, so the moving average doesn't really mean a ton on this pair, but because it doesn't really trend. It mostly just ranges between, you know, like I think 110 and like 105. So yeah, this low here kind of thing. So this is pretty much the entire range of this pair right here. So doesn't really trend. But anyways, it's moving down. It's fighting a level here currently. So see if it breaks that. Overall, I am short the Aussie pairs other than Aussie yen. So if anything, I'd be looking to short this pair, but I would wait for it to find some significant movement downwards. I want to see some real bearish movement downwards. I want to see it break this zone because this held it before. So it's got to break this and then, you know, target something like this. There's nothing really in between here, so you know, this is a good 200 pips if it breaks this area and there's significant bearish momentum, which there hasn't really been yet. This pair has mostly just been ranging, so it's not really worth taking any trades or anything on Aussie Kiwi. Oh, Aussie dollar. Okay, so broke this zone, which was holding it up, took two big bearish candles and has now broken it. There is an area here which it is just coming into now and getting rejected, so we'll see if it breaks this area. Again, I am short the Aussie pairs. I do think that this is still bearish, even though the dollar was losing strength, which pushed it up recently, but I think overall it is bearish. It is now below this moving average, so that also tells you it's bearish. So we're going to wait for this. Next month I'll probably pull out some shorts, some short positions, but I want to wait and then start targeting monthly. I like targeting the monthly moves, so I don't do a lot of trading. I'll analyze the charts every day and break them down for you guys and for myself to make myself more disciplined and understand things more, but usually I really only trade, like take actual positions on the beginning of the month, because I like to break down the charts on the monthly outlook and then target the full monthly ranges. So like this range was about 370 pips, so I want to get most of that. So that's how I personally trade, but you can still break down the charts and, you know, analyze them for other people and see if they can come up with their own setups that suit their strategies, their own risk rewards, all that. So that's Aussie dollar. I'm gonna wait for it to break this zone and then target lows for next month. Okay, so Aussie 200 index, very interesting. So this is not monthly high anymore, so just disregard this line here. But so it's clearly been bullish, you know, very weak bullish candles, but bullish nonetheless. Yesterday it did have a huge daily candle and then rejected, so now I kind of created this zone here, so we're just gonna see if it keeps rejecting this zone. But obviously I drew this big zone because this was where I thought it was headed, but it might not make it there, so just delete this here. So I am still looking to short this. Eventually it's going to head lower. It's unbelievable to me that it's continuing this, you know, tiny consistent movement upwards with skyrocketing interest rates, with economic slowdown, with all of that happening. This is still somehow trickling up. Just shows how kind of corrupt everything is. But anyways, I'm gonna wait for this to, you know, obviously start heading down, but then I'm going to need it to break an area like this. I need it to break a significant support area downwards, and by then this moving average will have caught up. So I'm basically just watching this, watching it make new highs, which it should not be doing, but it is what it is. So we just gotta wait. We'll see if it breaks this mini zone that I created or this upward zone up here. We'll see, all in good time. And then we will, you know, hopefully can delete all this. Hopefully some, you know, bears come in. Like, it'd be nice if today was a bearish engulfing candle. Obviously it tried, but then is now getting rejected, so it tells me it still wants to go up. But I mean, no rush on this. We'll wait till next month. We'll see if some good bearish momentum comes in to maybe set up positions and target the full monthly range. But definitely got to be patient with this one, because as much as I want to short it, you'll pay the price if you do it now, and it's not good. So not doing that yet. So waiting on the Aussie 200 index, waiting for more bearish confirmation and trend change. So CAD Swiss, okay, so completed its monthly range movement, is now retracing, but seems to almost be consolidating. It's not really. The first few days of the retracement were good, and now it came back down, is retesting this zone, so it doesn't really know what it wants to do. I would consider it not retracing anymore, so I would not bank on that. I would just wait and see kind of what it does now. For next month with all the other Swiss pairs, I'm looking to short it. The range on this is about 375 pips. No, sorry, 275 pips. So that's what I'm going to be looking for next month. And so it just comes down to kind of where price is sitting at the start of the month. If it looks like it's not going any higher, then you start targeting the lows. So I mean, this is obviously a previous zone. I would look for price to come into this zone, reject it, and then I would start targeting lows for the month. But that's CAD Swiss, nothing too exciting yet. We got to wait it out. CAD Yen, holy, all kinds of zones, so probably delete these here. So it did complete its full monthly movement here, then did do a perfect retrace, so that's great. I am looking to buy this, not yet but soon. I think it's proven itself. It's obviously very bullish. It did this massive bullish move, pulled back, retraced, is now coming back down into the zone, retesting this support zone it's created and rejecting itself. So I think it does want to head back up. I think looking for next month, I think we're gonna have some good buys here. I wouldn't take a trade, but if I would, it would look something like this. Keep your stop out of this zone here, and then target this previous area up here or higher. I believe the range on CAD Yen's about 500 pips. Yeah, about 530. It's done about 500 already. So, but there is one thing to be considered about. This is at a previous monthly high area. So back in October of last year, this is as high as it made it. So this 110 area is significant resistance. So we'll see if it can break this 110 area. I would say most likely it will start heading back up and then really struggle with this area again. Don't know if it'll break it, because again, it is significant previous resistance, but if it does break it, then it's obviously going to head much higher. But if it doesn't, it might start ranging a little bit. We don't really know. I think it's still obviously bullish. I think buying positions are your best bet. I would just wait and see how those play out. But that is my take on CAD Yen. Okay, so Swiss Yen. Okay, so it broke down. Yeah, it's not quite in its back in its bullish momentum. I thought it would have pushed up higher yesterday and hit this 164.5, but instead the bears came in, absolutely took out this little zone here, and now it's consolidating back on this support area that it created, which is also good. Doesn't always have to head up higher. Sometimes it will head lower first and then find its retest its resistance one more time. This gives buyers more opportunity to get in on the pair too. So this is just kind of how smarter money trades. They'll wait for a better position to fill, like down here in this area where there's lots more fills, to get a much better price. Why would you buy it here when you could buy it down here and then it'll head directly up? So I don't know if it'll head directly up. I don't know if the momentum's coming into the market yet. It might still take some time, but this is a good sign that because it came back down to this zone and now is getting rejected highly, and technically this segment is a higher low than this one, price is still creating higher lows. So it's still showing it to be bullish momentum. It's just not as significant as it once was because there's pullbacks, but But yeah, that's Swiss yen. It's probably my favorite pair, honestly. I made good money with Swiss yen just by being consistent with it. So look at this. We'll just watch this zone and then wait for the momentum to come back in and then start looking for buy positions next month. This little blue marker here is the end of the month, so don't want to take anything yet, but we will look forward to next month. Dollar index. Okay, so interesting. It's right at the 618 level, so it did its full monthly move here. I have a sip of my coffee. It did its full monthly move here. Now it's retracing, hitting this 618 zone just perfectly. So that's nice to see. Obviously, if you would have taken this retracement trade, which I marked out before, you would have hit it perfectly without any drawdown or anything like that. So, you know, a nice 6R trade right there based on just a retracement. Very, very high reward trade. So, can delete that, I guess. And then, yeah, so next month, I mean, that's what we're basically looking at is for next month. But, so it is bearish. It's below this moving average. It does look to be rejecting this 618 zone after it's retraced. So, I do think the dollar wants to head lower. I think its range is about 3.75. So, you know, next month we're going to be looking at new lows, most likely down here. So that's, yeah. Well, I'll map all this out probably on Monday or Tuesday, probably Tuesday after the month closes. We'll find all of our monthly positions to take advantage of, but as of right now, yeah, it just looks like it's rejecting this area, which is normal, and that's, you know, that's exactly what I thought it would do. After it made its monthly movement down, it's just retracing, and now most likely we'll do something like this and just create a further extension of this movement. You know, the lower lows, lower highs, all the way down to this area starting next month. So that's the dollar index. Oh man, 0.50 index. So I'm really grateful I didn't get in on any trades here. But again, this is another one. I do believe it will start heading down dramatically. It's just, it's not if, it's when. But clearly not yet. So we'll see how today closes. But yesterday it did a big bullish candle through this zone, then pulled back into this zone. Now today it's printing another bullish candle. See how it closes because there's still 8 hours. I mean, this could be exactly just like yesterday and pull back dramatically back into this zone. I don't know. I do know it created some resistance here that would obviously have to break. I would like to see, I'm going to set an alert here actually, because I would like to see price, I'll set it at the bottom of this zone. I think this will be a very, very good short, but I think price has to hit this zone first and break this zone. If it breaks this zone, then I think we're good to go. But until then, it's probably just going to keep going up, which it really shouldn't be doing economically. Does not make sense with interest rates and everything like that, but the markets can always be kind of misaligned, if that makes sense, and it can carry on for a long time. They can be not cooperating the way that they should. They can just be basically out of whack for a long time. And with trading, I've learned that I'm most likely right, but I'll be early. Sometimes I'm 3 months early, 6 months early, a year and a half early. So I guess if you think about it, yeah, I'm wrong initially, but then I become right. So that's exactly how it'll be with this. Just got to wait it out. Wait to enter some shorts. I would do something like this, obviously, but price has to hit this area first. And then we will take some big short positions and finally make some money on this pair that I've been just waiting for. You know, just eyeing up every day. And every day it's just making me mad because it's going through the zone that it should not be going. So yeah, we set our alert. We'll wait till price finally starts breaking low. It could take a couple weeks, could take a couple months. We'll just wait it out, but I promise you this will this will be a very good money maker soon. Euro Aussie ranging now, so obviously struggling with this area, rejected it multiple times. It's now coming back into it and rejecting it, so I don't think this is obviously going to complete its monthly range at all. I think it is a good sign that shows the trend is weakening and most likely switching. So because of where it is in this previous area, you know, back in July of 2020, these were all the monthly highs. So I think because price is back there and back in that, you know, recent history, same prices that it was, and it got rejected before, that's why it's rejecting now. So I do see the, you know, overall trend kind of switching to bearish. Obviously we're gonna have to wait a while. We're gonna have to wait for price to cross over this moving average. We're gonna have to wait for it to break this zone here. So again, waiting. Hurry up and wait. That is trading, so get used to that. The better I've gotten with that, the more money I've made, so it kind of is directly related. So it's okay to be patient, but you still have to be ready. So if this starts breaking lower, starts cracking this zone, then that means the bears have come in. Then you start targeting the full monthly move, which for this is 650 pips. So like in a perfect world, I mean, regardless of the timeline, if price breaks this area and then this moving average, I mean, we're going to short it. And then if it's the start of the month, you could probably get 600-700 pips. So I mean, I don't think that's going to happen yet, but maybe, you know, maybe actually not August, but September. So kind of just future pacing myself here. You know, that could be a massive September trade, depending on how next month plays out, obviously. But you know, that's Euro Aussie. There's not much happening. It's mostly just ranging. I would not buy it. I think it's struggling with the zone too much. I think it had massive bullish momentum, and I think it's phasing off now. This moving average is getting closer and closer. It's having a tough time with this 166 level. Hasn't broken it since early May. So that is Euro Aussie. Euro CAD making its way back down. So yeah, just like Euro Aussie, you can see that the momentum is shifting. So there's no clear signs yet, but this is about to test this moving average probably next week. So you know, you see yesterday big bearish candle, today tiny bull candle, almost just retesting this little area here. So you can see that the momentum is shifting for these euro pairs. Just want to make sure the stream's still good. Yep, everything's good. You can see that, yeah, the momentum shifting. So again, we'll wait on Euro CAD. We'll wait for it to break this moving average. We'll make, you know, ideally would break below all these lows here. You know, break below this 143.8, these 143 level, break below this moving average, then you're clear to short it, and you can make 500 pips if you just hang out and wait for the market set up. You catch the top of the trend change instead of rushing or trying to, you know, trying to buy it right now when it's like clearly, if anything, it's still pulling back. Even if this is still bullish, it's still pulling back. The bulls haven't re-entered, so there's no point in buying this yet. There's probably no point in buying it at all, to be honest. I do think it's switching trends, so gonna wait on Euro CAD to see what sets up for next month, but most likely looking to short it. Euro Swiss, again, my favorite Swiss pairs. I'll delete these alerts here. So very bearish, below this moving average, completed this nice monthly move. I took advantage of most of this move. It's nice 250 pips right there, just clean, just consistent. And so now you can see this bullish candle, bullish engulfing yesterday. So most likely we'll head up to this zone and then maybe higher, we don't know, we'll just wait. What I'm going to do is wait for Euro Swiss to keep heading up. I want to see a few bull days for sure, and either get rejected at this zone or anything in between if it creates a new zone. And then as soon as it finds rejection or some resistance at again, this area, or its own new area, maybe like right here or here, anywhere, it doesn't really matter. You wait for that rejection to set up, and then you target another 250 pips, because that is the monthly range. If we look here in the ATR, the monthly range is 249 pips. So yeah, you target 250 pips for next month. So it would be like something like this, let's say. Oops. You know, this would be like next month trade, and you get your full 250 pips. It'd be something like this. Obviously you have to wait for that to set up, but that is next month's trade. Just kind of sitting there, you just let it set up. As we've seen with the other euro pairs like Euro Aussie, Euro CAD, it is losing momentum, so that means the euro overall is most likely headed downwards, which also is good for the Euro Swiss. So it just shows that everything's correlated and moving in the right direction. So if you needed more confirmation to short this, there's that. But yeah, I would wait for it to hit its own resistance zones and then start taking shorts and trying to capitalize on the full monthly movement. There's no sense in only getting like, you know, 20 pips, 30 pips when you can get 300, you know, or 250, which is the full monthly range. Like, you should get at least 200 pips on these moves, and then you basically you get more pips and way less risk, because you're not taking as many positions. Like, you can take one position and get 200 pips, or you can take 10 positions and get 200 pips. But there's a chance that 9 of those positions go heavily against you, and then it does not work. So less is more with trading. So just wait it out, wait for price to come to this area, let's say, set itself up, wait a few days, make sure it's really significant. I want to see a bunch of rejections on this zone. I want to see price come up, reject it 3-4 times, have a nice bearish engulfing candle, and then I'm going to enter my long or my short monthly position. So that is Euro Swiss. Euro Pound also coming down, also bearish. So good correlation between all the euro pairs. It's now testing this zone just about. This is a very significant zone, so I'd be looking for more shorts. Probably something like this starting next month, and especially if it breaks this zone, I'm looking for deeper shorts. So, you know, you look at these main areas here on the weekly. This is a significant area, so that's probably where I would target. It's probably within the monthly range as well. So yeah, definitely. So that would be Euro Pound, but again, that's next month. It's got to break this zone, and then we'd be looking to take more short positions. Euro Yen, also a little interesting. So broke this area and then touched its full monthly range, which is about 600 pips. This is the exact same thing as Aussie Yen did last night. So, you know, big movement down, but got rejected. So now it's creating its own zone here. So this might be kind of the low. Not sure. Just have to wait and see what happens when the other, you know, when the bullish momentum enters the yen pairs again. But yeah, this is you just gotta wait for this. But this is interesting because it did touch its full monthly range and reject it. So could be a good sign, but just have to wait. There's not really, I would not short this pair by any means. I would not short any of the yen pairs because they are super bullish. Like I think you are crazy to short this at any time. I understand that it is making lower lows, but I mean, at any time this will resume and it'll, you know, go 500 pips up. So you do not want to be on the wrong end of that. So I would, again, just wait. But we'll see how this zone functions now, today, tomorrow, and into next week. Or sorry, today and then into next week. And then we'll see if the zone really holds, and if it keeps rejecting, then I mean, that means buyers are probably setting up to take position for next month and, you know, hit those big monthly movements. So we will jump on that if it makes sense to do so. We'll just have to wait. That's Euro Yen. Euro Kiwi, same thing as Euro Aussie pretty much. So is made some resistance here. Is now looking to head back up, retest this zone. I don't think it's going to break this area, this 180 level. So again, this is a trade that, or this is a pair that will produce big money, but you have to wait. So as the trend switches from bullish to bearish, you can make a lot of money, but you have to wait for the trend to actually change. So I need price to come back into this zone, reject it. I need this moving average to catch up more. Ideally, it would be something on, this is on the 4 hour, so I would need price to come below this 4 hour moving average. Right now it's still sitting above, so I need price to come below that, and that goes for multiple time frames. So I would need price to get below the 1 hour, which it actually was. Now it's just above, but you can see there's more prices below the 1 hour than there was before, so that's a good sign. But I need price to come back up to this area, because that's where it obviously wants to go. You can see the bulls are headed there. They want to go back up to and test that 180 level, so let them test it and then get rejected, and then watch price slip below this 4 hour moving average, this 1 hour moving average, and that shows that the momentum downwards is starting to set in, because the momentum upwards is ending. So that's Euro Kiwi. That I'm waiting. That might take a few weeks. That's no problem, because once that sets up, we'll be good to go. Because if you look on the weekly or the monthly, again, huge. You can see these massive monthly wicks back in the end of 2020, July, August, May. So this is a very significant price area that has rejected in the past and will most likely reject it again. So we just have to wait. That's all we have to do with this one, is wait and wait and wait, and then take short positions and make good money. Euro dollar, so yeah, it's just trickling back down. I do think it's still bullish, but I'm gonna have to wait for the bulls to resume this position. I think the dollar is also, it did retrace and now it's headed back down. So again, yeah, I think this will head back up. I think we just have to wait. The euro itself, like we looked at with all the other pairs now, the euro itself is losing value and it's losing upward steam, so that is going to affect this pair as well, obviously. But again, with the dollar decreasing in value, I do think this is still going to head up and at least touch this 112 zone again, if anything. But we'll have to wait. We'll have to, with yesterday's big bearish candle, today's pullback candle, you really just have to wait until the bullish momentum comes back into the market, if it's going to. So either let price come down to this area, or retest this moving average or something like that. You have to wait for more confirmation before entering this position. But I do think it is bullish. I do think it'll continue up, but we gotta wait for some more to set up. Pound Aussie, so this is a massive candle that blew through this little mini zone here. So I think Pound Aussie is also switching directions, but I think it's not going down without a fight. So huge candle here, this zone here. So we'll see if it breaks this zone again. Obviously there's a ton of resistance here, so it's good and bad. So I do think that it is switching directions and it will head low. I do think that the trend is switching, but I mean, until it breaks this area, definitely not. But at the same time, if and when it breaks this area, this low area, it's probably good to go. It's probably caught up to this moving average. I mean, it'll be drastically different once it breaks this zone, the movement that it'll make. So, but until then, you gotta wait. This is a very significant zone, and like, it rejected this many times, but also rejected this upper area. So. And again, on the monthly, this is a very wicky area, so it's kind of sitting just above it now. So, I mean, who knows? This might actually continue up, might go towards the 202 level. I mean, if this month closes like this, then I'd say it might still continue to go up, right? Like it did, and it did. Maybe it's not. Like, as I look at it more, maybe it's not changing directions quite yet. Like the euro pair, the pound is still strong versus the euro, but so yeah, pound Aussie might continue up. I mean, this is a massive bull candle. If this closes like this and then Monday is kind of the same thing through this zone, then I would target long positions for the month, for next month, you know, and there's 800 pips worth of range here, so I would probably look at, you know, big long positions next month on Monday after this closes. So, because again, it's still way above the moving average. It did create its own rather resistance zone, so yeah, there's enough confirmation here that it does want to continue up, but I do think like once it does switch bearish, you know, I am right, like it's obviously going to break this zone, break this moving average, but then it'll start trending downwards for 6 months and do really well that way. But I think until then, which that could be a month, 6 months, who knows, but until then, I think this is still a good buy. I think there's still a ton of bullish momentum in it to keep buying it. So for next month, I would look at buying it after some more, you know, price setups occur. So pound CAD, so yeah, not doing a whole lot, still bullish. It's above this moving average. You can kind of see, yeah, so this monthly candle really sucks. You can see this monthly, you know, wick. So pound CAD looks to be turning around. Pound Aussie not so much yet, but pound CAD, yes. So I would wait for a bit more confirmation, possibly take short positions the start of next month, but I would need price to break below this 4-hour moving average. That's step one. Step two, I would need it to create some more wicks here. I would like some more rejection here. There's just not enough yet for me, which is fine because the trade's not set up yet. It's not next month yet, so that's fine. We'll just wait on that one. But I do see pound CAD switching directions. We'll just have to wait. I have to, again, yeah, I need more rejection here. I need it to break low. I need it to break a zone like this one, or ideally this one, break this moving average. Those would all be perfect. Then I'll definitely enter short positions. But until then, I gotta wait. But I do think that pound CAD is switching, so I would not buy it yet. If you're looking to buy it, I would not. And the reason is because you look at how this monthly is closing, look at the area it's closing in. And then even if you look at the weekly, you know, last week was a very bearish engulfing week. This week has been really poor. It's printing almost like just like a doji. So yeah, I would wait on that. And then you can see this significant area. This is the top of previous movements back in 2022, so early of last year. So yeah, don't like the idea of buying that. So I like the idea of shorting it. If it presents itself and it breaks this moving average, breaks these zones, then I'm looking to short pound CAD. Pound Swiss, really struggling with the zone. I do think that it is, I think it will continue lower. Do think it's still bearish, it's below this moving average, but it is struggling with this major zone here, which is totally fine. It basically just has to find, you know, it made this huge monthly movement just like it should have. So now it's just almost like consolidating and finding its new resistance zone going into next month. So it could still be this zone. We'll see how today closes on Monday. If this bullish candle closes through this zone, it might be headed up to this one. If it closes below this zone and rejects it just like all these candles did, then again, this might be its new resistance zone for next month, and this is where we'll short from. Shoot for position like this. I gotta move this here. Yeah, I mean, it could be a trade like this for next month. And this does move like 400 pips, so I think that is a healthy amount of pips to target. So your trade would look something like this, but gotta wait till next month, gotta wait for everything to really set in. But this is how I would do it once things align up. You know, I want to target that full monthly range of 400 pips. I want to enter it from a place of resistance or previous rejection, which this is an area where it is. So starting next month, I will see you know, what I want to do with that. It would look something like this. So if it looks something like this, then I would take that trade. Pound yen. Okay, so big bearish candle yesterday, totally took out this little zone here, closed below it. Now is, you know, rejecting, didn't quite hit its monthly range, but proving a lot of rejection here. Is now headed back up, so I can delete all these little zones. Delete this. Don't think it's going to do that by any means. But we will draw this zone here. Because now I like when price makes big moves but then rejects, because then it tells me that it's testing prices. If it stays stagnant, then it doesn't tell you enough. Whereas like this told me that it tried to go below, you know, the ones like below the 178 level right here. Couldn't do it, you know. So it dipped below the 178, got rejected twice, you know, and today it's been heavily, so that's nice to see. So we'll just let, you know, and this is an area where now you could place a lot of buy positions, right? This becomes a fill zone for potential orders because of this. So anytime you have huge wicks like this, it's a fill zone. So now as price dips, if price comes back and dips in this area again, it'll get filled again and again and again, and eventually it gets filled so much that, you know, price starts shooting back up, right, and starts targeting these previous highs because there's just so many buyers that came in this area, right? This sub 178 level is where all the buyers are hanging out. So you just gotta wait for either a ton of momentum up, start cracking these zones, or wait for price to come back down in this area a bunch of times, reject it more and more and more, and then that tells you everything you need to know. Pound Kiwi, so testing this zone again, big bullish candle through it, seems to be holding, but there's 7.5 hours left. Was making higher lows, so like this tells me that it still wants to go up, but it's similar to Pound Aussie. Like I wrote this big short coming because I do think it's coming, but maybe it's just not here yet. I mean, like there's just, you can see the this monthly moving average. It's kind of weird looking, but it is about to touch that, so that's interesting. You got these huge monthly, you know, wicks here. So this is a massive wick, 219. This is 1,000 pip wick. That is insane to me. So from 219 to 209, that's 1,000 pips, 1,000 pip wick on the monthly here. So like this is going into it. You look at last month, very, very weak candle, also into this area. So again, this is iffy, but you know, and even if you know, this week closes today, obviously we got 7.5 hours for this weekly candle to close. This is a pretty weak bullish candle. Yes, it's bullish, and yes, there was a wick here, but I mean, next week the bears could come in and just annihilate this candle. Like it wouldn't be very hard to engulf this tiny candle. So I would really watch this. I mean, there's I get that, like, you know, it seems to be breaking this zone and it's very bullish, it's way above this moving average, but the area that it's in right now is so significant, and like it has rejected this zone 4 times now. So I would definitely wait on this. I don't think it's a clear buy by any means. I think it's a good potential short. I mean, I would wait for more confirmation, but I think, yeah, I think I was right. The big short is coming with this pair. Yeah, see? Just wait. It's funny I wrote that. Yeah, just wait it out. Wait for Pound Kiwi to start. You know, like if it breaks this area, man. If next week is a very bearish week and it engulfs this week's candle, I would say that's a clear sign. So, but again, in order for it to do that, I would have to smoke this zone. So, which it'll most likely do. So, if it does decide it wants to head downwards. So that is Pound Kiwi. Pound dollar, same thing as $0. So Not doing much yet. I do think it's still bullish, do think it will continue upwards. Just might take a bit to resume its momentum back up, but so gotta just be flat for now. Sit on your hands. Don't don't take any trades off this yet. There's not even significant areas of resistance that it's in. I mean, I guess you could maybe call this one, but I don't like that. So there's nothing here for me on pound dollar, so just wait. That's what I'm gonna do anyways. This German 40 index, wow. Okay, so hitting this area again. These indexes, they move so well once they start moving. So right now it's been really flat, and obviously I want to short this, but it's just not there yet. There's still too much bullish momentum for whatever reason, even with high interest rates and all that. So I mean, it's basically rejected this area 3 times. Now it's printing a bullish candle through it. We'll see how that closes in 10 hours, 10 and a half hours before that candle closes. So that's plenty of time for it to reject. So we'll see if it does that, but eventually, yeah, I'm going to short this. But I need it to break some zones here. So I need it to break maybe this area. Actually, I would even go a little lower. I need it to break this area. Once this breaks this area, then we're probably good to head lower. And then if the moving average starts setting up, this is obviously still way above the 4 hour, so this is way too bullish to even consider shorting yet. But once that starts breaking, might take a couple weeks, then I think we're looking at some good short positions, to really start capitalizing on the trend switch of these indexes. Right now they're all bullish, and the stock markets are up, but eventually they won't be, guys. So when they stop going up, that means they're going to go down, and they're going to go down dramatically. They always go down faster than they went up. So as soon as they start switching over, and as soon as they start heading downwards, that's when we take short positions, something like this, and you make rank money. And you can end up making this in 3-4 days. It could be 1 week kind of thing. So as long as it took to, it's barely made it up to this area, right? It took all month for it to barely make it up. I guess this was the full month, so that's probably its full monthly range, just about. Yeah, about 1100 pips. So yeah, anyways, you wait for price to come down, break this area, and then we start looking for big short positions, because I don't want to buy this. I do not see any real buying potential here. It's at all-time highs. This is a huge wick area here, so it's at all-time highs. I don't want to buy something when it's at all-time highs. That's stupid. So that's what dumb people do. So we don't want to be like that. I'm not going to be like that. I'm going to wait for this to start. If I have to wait a month for this, or 2 months for this to really switch momentum and start heading downwards, start cracking these main areas, start cracking this moving average, then I will wait for that, and then I will take big short positions and be very profitable. So while everyone else is freaking out because the stock market's dropping, I'm going to be shorting it and making bank. NAS 100, so not doing a whole lot now. So again, with the other indexes, I want them to come down. They will come down eventually. This is clearly proving it doesn't really know what to do yet. It's almost just consolidating. So it was pushing higher, then it got rejected. It's created this little resistance zone, but it might break this zone. And then again, I'm looking to short these. I'm looking to short all these indexes, which may sound crazy, but that's how economics work. I think you got to be fearful when people are greedy, and you got to be greedy when people are fearful. So, and that is what I'm doing. So I'm waiting for this, because I know as soon as this starts cracking lower, as soon as this moving average catches up, which again is way low, it will take some time, but I don't want to buy things when they're drastically overpriced, which this is by all means. The PE ratio is 30, I think, on it. So historically it's very overpriced. I want no part in buying this, but I do want to short it once the momentum stops. So I'm pretty flat on the NAS 100. I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait till it starts making new lows and this trend completely switches downwards before entering any positions. Moving right along here, Kiwi CAD. So it's about to test this monthly range. Wow. So like, I really like these Kiwi pairs too. So they don't move a ton. Like this is only 300 pips, 325 pips, but in a month, but they move pretty consistent. Like this hit its area and then, you know, came right back down. And I mean, at the start of the month, it basically this has made no progress all month, but it's moved really well. It moved 300 pips up and then 300 pips down. So not much more you can ask. It is below the moving average, so bearish. It's kind of sitting at a significant area right here of resistance. This weekly area here, and then, you know, looking at the next one, if we want to continue shorting this, the next one is way down here at the 76 level, so about 500 pips away. So you wait till next month to figure out if you want to target that, I guess. But so right now nothing's going on, and there's definitely no trade setups, nothing worth taking, but it's good to note that this is still bearish. It's moving good, like it's moving consistently. It is going to battle with this zone now, so we'll see if it breaks this zone here, then most likely it's going to head down to this 77 level and below that, which would be its monthly range. So if next week price broke this zone and held, then for the month I would target this area. If it doesn't do that, there's probably not much I'm going to do, but that would be a situation where I would do something like this. Oops. And target like 300 pips, so it would be something like this, but everything else has to occur in that order. Price has to break below this zone and hold, and then I can target the full monthly range. So that's NZD CAD. Kiwi Swiss. Okay, so not doing much recently, basically just consolidating, but did move very well downwards on the month. Delete this little area, delete this. So yeah, obviously very similar to the Aussie Swiss and the other Swiss pairs, and yeah, looking to keep shorting this. So obviously I needed to come back up to an area like this. I mean, it's kind of wicking right now in this little area, so it is kind of creating its own resistance. You can see this weekly candle is very, very weak, so compared to last week, which was also, I mean, obviously very weak, very, very, very bearish, totally destroyed this zone. So you can tell like this wants to go lower. The only thing, again, this is an all-time low, so, but I think this is different than, you know, the indexes. Obviously I think each currency pair, like the Kiwi versus the Swiss, I think the Swiss is obviously way more desired and dominant. So, you know, I'm looking to keep shorting this, hitting new lows, but I need it to do certain things first. I need it to find an area upwards of resistance, and I need it to break an area of support downwards, and then target this full zone, get, you know, 300 pips out of this. So that's Kiwi Swiss. We'll see how this does for next month. If it continues to keep trickling down, keep breaking these, you know, it made a resistance zone, now it's going to break it most likely. That's a good sign that it wants to just keep heading lower for next month, and then I would take a position and target the full monthly range. Kiwi yen, so nice, came down, touched the 85.5 level, almost touched the 85 level actually, so completed its full monthly range, which is wild. Did it in, like, you know, wasn't even close, and then hammered it overnight, so that's interesting. see if this resumes upwards now. Obviously broke this area, so I will move this downward here, and then we can see that, yeah, this 85 between, let's see, between 86 and 85, you know, this is where a lot of buyers are sitting. So like, price came down here and got heavily rejected. So, and you're right at this moving average as well, which functions as a you know, support. So this is a good sign. It's good to see the yen pairs pulling back / consolidating, and then also, you know, getting rejected on the downside, which is going to force it to go back up, right? This just tells me there's a ton of buyers in this area. They want to buy this, just not yet. But if price comes, you know, sub 85, sub 86 level, they're buying it. So we'll wait on this, but this is a good sign for next month. If price, like, obviously it's way below, this is the 4 hour, so price is way below the moving average, but once it moves above this 4 hour moving average and starts making higher highs and higher lows, that'll tell me that, you know, price is ready to head back up. And, you know, because right now it's producing lower lows, right? This is a lower low, this is a lower low, so this is, you know, the most recent trend is downwards, and we need recent trend to be upwards. So we need price to go above the 4 hour moving average. This is the daily chart, but on the 4 hour, price needs to go above this moving average. It needs to break these upper areas, right, where all these wicks are, and then we'll know. So it's kind of, right now it's flat, it's figuring out what it wants to do, it's figuring out what fair price is. So fair price right now is above this area but below this one, so we have to just wait on that. Kiwi dollar, so heading lower, bearish, but no real significant zones. If you want to look at a longer term trend, sorry, tired I guess. So obviously hit this zone, massive rejection, big bearish engulfing candle out of that zone. So, you know, and this is a weekly, but way below this weekly moving average, below the daily moving average. So I would be more inclined to short this, but I do see the dollar losing strength, which would somewhat push this up. So this is an iffy pair, same with Aussie USD. I do think they are still bearish, but the other dollar pairs are bullish, so it kind of goes against it, and it doesn't make it super clear for me as a trader personally to take positions. I mean, it obviously rejected this massive zone here and now is making, you know, new lows, but it's you know, price is barely above this moving average right here, and then it goes below it, and then it's above it, now it's below it. So it's almost just like ranging. It's ranging / the other dollar pairs are bullish. So there's too much mixed information kind of thing, mixed data, mixed price action between all the pairs to, you know, prevent me from making a trade. Like I don't see a clear outlook. So, and there's just plenty of other trades or plenty of other pairs to take positions on. So for me as a trader, you got to be disciplined in the sense that if there's 30 other pairs I can make money on, why am I trying to, you know, force a trade which I don't even understand the, you know, next week or next month's direction? I don't really, for me there's no clear look on this pair, so why would I force a position when there's plenty of other pairs that can make a lot of money? So that's me personally. Maybe you see something I don't. Totally, you know, totally possible. Comment, you know, send me a message. Maybe you see something I don't, but I don't see, you know, I don't see any trades with this pair that would make sense to me and be worth the risk versus all the other pairs. So that is Kiwi dollar. Good old oil. So rejecting this $80 level, 1, 2, 3, 4 days pretty much. Rejecting this $80 level. So with the dollar this is actually interesting because if the dollar is most likely going to head back downwards, which will push oil up, but with all the economic slowdown, interest rates, all that, that pushes oil down. So there's multiple factors you have to consider when trading oil now. Obviously, it has been bullish this entire month, and is above this moving average, but, and I mean I drew this line yesterday because this is where it was most likely to head, was the $83 level, if the momentum doesn't switch, which I don't think it will. I do think it'll still go up to the $83 level. We'll just see. We'll have to wait and see till next month, because, well, especially Monday, I gotta see how this closes. But as of right now, last 4 days, it's pretty much rejecting this $80 level. So I think, but based on this weekly candle, I mean, this weekly candle is pretty bullish. So like, if there's 7 hours left, but if it closes, like if it closed right now or it closes a little bit higher, I mean, that's very bullish. It's very full. All these other weekly candles are full bull candles. So I do think it's a clear shot to $82, $83 level up in this other area. But then I think that might be the end of the bull run for oil. I just think with economic slowdown overall, I just don't think the demand will be there. But who knows? Oil has a lot of political stuff that goes with it, so you never really know. But based on what I see right now, I can see it heading up to 83 level. I see that there's still tons of bullish momentum on the daily, the weekly, and now the monthly. Like, this is a massive bullish month, so that'll close on Monday and will still most likely be very bullish. So I do think this is still a good shot to $83 level. But yeah, that's oil. I think it's good to $83, but then I think I would highly consider not going above that, just based on these previous highs, based on the situation the world is in as far as economic slowdown, high interest rates, job loss, all that. But that's oil. So this UK 100 has been the most challenging index for me, but I'm starting to like it. Even though it dicked me around a lot, which was my fault earlier, and is continuing to dick me around with all these wicks. It doesn't want to break lower, but will not break higher. This is obviously a significant zone. You can see it respected it, back here, respected it as resistance or as support, and then it broke this, and now it's treating it as resistance upwards. So the 7,700 level, I do think it's it doesn't want to break above that, which is nice. I do think this is going to start heading lower, but this is a pair that has shown me, or an index, I guess, that has shown me that things will take longer than they should. And I mean, it threw me through an absolute loop right here when I initially shorted it, and I shorted it based on this perfect price action, right? Like, price came, rejected, huge wicks, and then just boom, 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 massive bull candles, completely threw me off. Did not make sense at all, but I still had to deal with it because I was still in a position. So I hedged myself out of that. I did lose a little bit of money, but it wasn't much. And I think I got out like right here. So I'm not in this anymore. And I did lose a little bit of money, but I learned so much from the position. So I'm actually happy I took that, because that'll prevent me from making massive losses in the future when price, when everything lines up properly. And I did make the right decision based on, the circumstances, but then obviously price just completely goes against you out of nowhere. Nothing makes sense, but you still have to deal with it. So that's what I did with this, and I learned a lot, so I'm thankful for that. But I'm waiting for this to turn around. So today it is rejecting a little bit. I need to continue to reject. I need to break this area here. I think I actually had an alert that I just deleted, but I'm going to put it one back. yeah, so that's UK 100. I do think it's going to be a massive short. I think it's got to break this area, obviously, and then something like this and target this area, and then ultimately target this one. Actually, this would probably be it. So yeah, so it really did do its full monthly range. Wow, who knew? It did its full monthly range. It was just in the wrong direction. I wanted it to go below this and instead it went way above. So this is kind of what I'm looking at here now for UK 100. So that's that, and we will see how today closes, because clearly it, it's rejecting. So I mean, if it just keeps rejecting and then Monday prints a similar candle, I mean, eventually this is going to start heading downwards, and when it does, I'm going to make all my money back and then some. US 100, US 500, the S&P 500. So again, in this major monthly rejection zone. So you can see wick, more wicks. So this week, I mean, it's very similar to last week. It's bullish, but half the candle is a wick. So it's bullish, but it's getting rejected. It's bullish, but it's getting rejected. So there's kind of mini zones here. So it's in a major zone, and then it's also in a bit of a micro zone here on the daily. And I want to short this. I mean, not yet, because it's still very bullish, but I'm waiting for this to start making new lows and heading downwards, and then taking advantage of the full down movements that are on its way. It's not if, it's when. So I mean, this could be it, because this is a major zone here if you look on the weekly, but daily, hourly right now, and it's not presenting itself yet. But this last week and a half, it hasn't moved higher. Like, it's been rejecting this zone, this 45 70-ish level. So we'll see with that. I mean, monthly wise, yeah, so it's a bull candle, but it's right in this wiki zone back in April of 2022. So a lot to consider with this, with the S&P 500. I'm biased. I want to short it, so but not yet. It'll still probably be at least a few weeks. So this has to, there's so much bullish momentum that it really has to shift heavily before I take short positions. So that's the S&P 500. USD CAD, very flat. Like I talked about before, the US dollar and the Canadian dollar, their strengths are just very even right now. They're gaining and losing basically directly. So just not much is going to come with this right now. We'll see next month. I mean, we'll see how it sets up. Technically this is bearish, so I mean, the Canadian dollar is stronger than the US dollar, especially based on oil prices. Canada has the petrodollar, but and you can see that, like, it's kind of creating resistance zones here, but yeah, nothing very significant. Have to wait till next month and see. I would probably wait on some more significant price action, ideally price breaking above here or breaking below here kind of thing, before I would enter anything, because right now it's just too flat. I don't like being in flat movements, because it just ties you up in swap fees and stresses you out for no reason, and then worst case you lose money, best case you make none. So terrible position to be in. Try to avoid that at all costs, literally. So that's USD CAD. USD Swiss could still possibly be retracing back up to this area, just taking a sweet ass time, printing like a doji candle right now, but there's 7 hours left. So I mean, this area has proven to be significant resistance. You can see that it found it, pulled up, then retested it again yesterday and got heavily rejected. So this is making higher lows, which tells me that this does want to continue upwards. So obviously it is not bullish, but I mean, it might be a pretty safe buy up to this area for sure. This, this 88 level, right in between this 50% of this 618 level. So I think that's a good outlook for USD Swiss. I think I wouldn't touch, personally. I'm not going to touch this. I want to short all the Swiss pairs evenly, and so I wouldn't short this yet, but I would wait for it to come up to this area and short it, and I wouldn't buy it because that's kind of counter trend trading, and I don't want to do that either. So I think the dollar is going to decrease in value, and I do think the Swiss dollar is going to continue to increase in value. So I am short USD Swiss, but not yet. I want it to come up to that 88 level and show me clear signs of rejection before entering short positions and targeting the full monthly range. USD yen. So moving right along, we got just gold and we're back. So yeah, price came down back into this zone, retested it, heavy rejection. So again, with all the other yen pairs, like this might be the lows might be setting in. So it's good when price tests areas. I really like it. I like that it kind of tells you what it wants to do. So it went really low. It tested this 138 level again, like it did previously, and it got heavily rejected. So it actually got rejected, below anything below 139. You can see right here that it didn't like. So as soon as it dipped below 139, it got bought up. So you're like, well, as of right now, above 139 is fair price. So I'm not buying this yet, but looking for next month, definitely. I think the US dollar versus the yen dollar, I mean, the US dollar is at 5.5% interest rates, like they just raised them. So if you're talking just pure economic interest rate standpoint, I mean, the US dollar is phenomenal compared to the yen, which is negative interest rates. So if by holding the yen you are losing money, and by holding the dollar you are gaining money just by holding it, right, based on interest. So yeah, you can see this weekly dip into this area, and now is getting heavily rejected. So I'd be looking to buy this all day next month. It's got 700 pip range, so I mean, you can make 700 pips off this, something like this, but gotta wait. I want to wait a little bit longer. It's the end of the month. There's not really momentum in the market. There's no big banks trading right now. They're not taking positions. So if they're not taking positions, neither am I, because I need them. I need their volume, or else I can't make money. So I have to wait for the banks to come back in, which will be next month, and most likely after summer because people are on holidays. But that's USD yen. Definitely bullish. Definitely want to buy it. I think this is great. I like that it's making, higher lows. Like price comes up, comes back down, boom, and now if price, it's kind of confusing with these lines here. Oops, hang on a sec here. There we go. With price made a low, made a high, now made a lower low. Now I need to make a higher high, and then it'd be something like this, and that'll be your USD yen trade. So all in good time. Just wait it out, guys. Be patient. Patience pays. Promise you. So USD yen. Silver, yeah. Silver is just not interesting to me. I don't know why. It used to be, but I mean, it's struggling to go higher, but it's not really going lower. It's kind of just flat. There's this moving average that held it up, but now it looks like it's heading back towards it. So I just don't know with silver. I think with the dollar getting weaker, it pushes the value of commodities up, but at the same time, with economic slowdown, the desire for silver isn't as necessary. So, and it's the same thing with gold. So it's really tough to, there's not really, again, with these commodities, I mean, if there's not a clear picture for me as a trader, I don't want to trade it. I want to speculate the least amount as possible. I like seeing clear setups that make sense to me. If they don't make sense and there's no clear outlook and things are all over the place, and I couldn't, basically, if you can't explain your trading plan to a 5-year-old, it's probably not very good. I know it sounds crazy, but that served me really well. So if by looking at this for more than 30 seconds, I don't understand what's going on, or, you know, a long-term outlook, like a 6-month outlook, then it's not worth me taking a trade or even considering a trade. There's so many other pairs you can trade that have clear setups that it doesn't make sense to force yourself into a trade on a different pair that doesn't have a clear outlook. So I'm not touching silver. Maybe you see something I don't. Maybe you're like, I love trading silver. Silver is my bread and butter, but for me, it's just not. Okay, so gold, last one, guys, last one, and then I'll move on to stocks and cryptos in a few hours here, but losing my voice. So this is gold. So rejected this massive area here, you know, the 1980 level kind of thing. Big bearish candle out of the zone. Now is retesting this zone here, this little resistance zone. So yeah, gold, I mean, I understand everyone loves trading gold, but it's really cool and popular. But for me, it's just not. I mean, when it trends well, it moves really well, and it's nice to, you know, like, you know, here, like this is really nice if you can jump on that. But when it trends well, it you know, it's great to trade, but when it's not, it sucks. So I'm gonna delete this. I do think that it's still bullish. I mean, it is above the moving average too, so if I was to take a trade on gold, it would be a buy, but I don't see anything significant. I mean, it would have to be, you know, I don't really want to short it. Like when it came up to this zone recently here, I don't think I would short that, but I mean, if I would have shorted it, would have done okay, I guess. But yeah, it doesn't really make sense to me either way. Like I don't see, I mean, there is a massive weekly support area here, so I mean, if price came down to here, I'd probably buy it. And then on the weekly, I mean, actually, so if you wanted to look at like a weekly outlook, this actually does make some good sense. So if you draw these zones like this and you focus on the weekly, then this actually makes a little bit more sense. So price rejected 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, now 6 times on the weekly above, you know, 1960 kind of thing. So this tells me this rejected the upside more than it's rejected the downside. So therefore, I'd be more inclined to actually short this down to this area. So I'd be more likely to short this down about 60 bucks into the 1900 level. So just based on this, because like, yes, it's bullish because it's above this moving average on the daily, but for many weeks, it, you know, since the end of May, it hasn't been able to close above this level. So that tells me that, and I mean, you could even shrink this down if you wanted to something like this. I mean, it doesn't want to close above this level. So it's not that it's bearish or that it really wants to go down, it's that it can't go up. So then I guess the only logical position is short. So I mean, that might actually be something I consider. Maybe I did talk myself into a trade for gold. Yeah, we'll see next month. I mean, I do like this as of current price action. I do like that, you know, it's creating lower lows, it's creating lower highs. You know, this is a lower high versus this one. Bear candles, you know, bearish engulfing candles on the daily. So I'd definitely be looking to short gold. If I was to take a position on gold today, Monday, next week, anytime, it would be a short position. So that's gold, guys. That's my analysis breakdown. Hopefully you got something from it. If you did, leave a comment. I'm going to break this down into smaller trade setups for people to watch. You know, it's easier to break down. This has been a long stream, so it's kind of hard to get a lot out of it, or try to, you know, get parts out of it. So I will break it down into, you know, easy parts, easy to consume and digest, and then you can learn from that. So thanks for watching, guys.